What's going on, everybody? Jack Acid back here with the second race of Season Challenge Mode in F1 2012. We are going to be competing here at Spa. And for this playthrough, I've selected Jean-Eric Vergne for my rival to start here in Caterham. So I've beaten him once at Monza to start the season, and now trying to qualify here at Spa and finish ahead so I can get a spot with his team. And as you can see, I only got as far as Eau Rouge to lose pace with the pole position leader. Again, that's not surprising considering the car that I'm in. We are racing on the hard difficulty, which I believe might be Pro in terms of the AI. So here we are finishing 19th, just ahead of our teammate. And Jean-Eric Vergne finished 15th, so I'm going to have to make up a handful of spots here to get ahead of him to win. If you haven't played this mode yet, or if you haven't played this game, pretty much the only objective in Season Challenge Mode is to beat your rival, as you can see here. We are not concerning ourselves as much with team objectives, per se, but the team expectations are still a huge part of career mode, so fret not. Race results do still matter in this game, just not particularly in this mode. So here we are to start. And starting next to Paul di Resta in the Force India, coming down into the tight hairpin in turn one, taking a have a look on the inside and make contact with Vergne, and now pinching out someone on the inside. I believe that was Grosjean in the Lotus, and basically was trying to avoid contact with Vergne, and all of a sudden he was right there, and I do believe he hit the wall, but no damage to the car, no warning from the stewards, so an unfortunate incident as we chase Vergne through Eau Rouge, have to let off the accelerator just a bit. And now going to try and get around the Toro Rosso here along the Kemmel Straight. And you can see he's a little wobbly, and we're almost wheel to wheel here, trying to make up some ground. And now 3 cars wide up here, and now they're saying that there was an illegal overtake for that, so I back off, but immediately I'm able to shoot right ahead. And now contact with Perez, now competing with Massa, and see if we can get around him here, and we are barely able to as he goes wide into the sand. There was marginal contact, but able to make the overtake stick as we come around this corner, now chasing down Ricardo, also in the Toro Rosso, so we're now ahead of our rival and going to have to maintain this pace through a 5-lap sequence. And it would be nice to get ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne as well. As you can see, I drop a wheel off into the dirt. And this is a really tricky corner. Have to deaccelerate just the right amount, and I slow down a little too much, and that's going to allow the Ferrari to have a look on the inside for just a moment. Now he yields, and now coming into a corner that's one of the most difficult on the circuit for me. Able to manage it pretty well there, able to keep my speed up. But you can see there's a pretty good trail of cars behind me, and it looks like Vergne is about 5 cars back. And near disaster there, but able to stay ahead of the Ferrari. And as you can see, a fast start does not guarantee a good finishing position. We still got almost 4.5 laps to go here. And I can tell that I'm going to be fending off this train of cars behind me for the entire race, but that's okay as long as we can stay ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne. We should be in good shape. Now coming up to the last tight chicane before the end of the lap. And here at the bus stop, I was having off and on problems when I was practicing, able to manage it pretty well there. And I've noticed that the suspension on the game has been greatly improved, and you can sort of feel the bumps and get a feel for your entry points and apexes better than installments of the past. And now we're going to have a clean run through Eau Rouge. Remember, it was very tight on lap 1 as expected. And one of the first things you'll notice on a corner like Eau Rouge is you really start to lose the car right here. You can feel the car start to skid just a little bit just from the sheer G-force of coming up through Eau Rouge, and that's a big improvement from 2011 as far as I'm concerned. Now Massa gaining on me here through the Kemmel Straight, but he's going to run out of track, and as long as I can manage through this chicane coming out of the Kemmel Straight, which I'm able to do okay, able to stay ahead. Now coming up to the second hardest corner of the circuit for me, but I have learned that in if you're using manual gears, if you come in through third gear and then drop it into second, you can see there I was actually in second gear the whole time. But I think ideally you want to come into that in third gear and then at the top of the apex drop it into second, and you can make your cut to get your nose pointed up in the right direction. It works pretty well. So I've been able to master that a little bit better. And now coming around here, and you can see that the AI is still much quicker than me. Massa now was looking poised to have a go, but he's not able to get around me. And this is the corner that I had mentioned on the first lap is so difficult for me. He should be able to take the entire thing in fourth gear, but for some reason I just can't see my braking point right. I'm not sure what it is. I usually have to change my gears to adjust. And coming through this stretch here, the AI is very quick. Usually have them bunching up behind me right about now, and you can see that the Ferrari is right behind me. And should be able to take this in 7th gear, including around this last bend, as long as you have your entry point right, and that's probably less true with traction control lower. I am playing with full traction control, but with no other assists. And now coming up through the bus stop and able to manage it pretty well, but Massa right behind me. And you can see now as we come up to the end of lap 2 and the start of lap 3 that the field and the gaps are starting to expand a bit. Coming into the hairpin, and still think that I have a chance to get caught up with the AI ahead of me, but we'll have to wait and see. My only objective again is to just stay ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne, so as long as I don't have any grievous mistakes, should be no problem. And I'm really wondering what's going to happen when I change teams. If I'm able to beat Jean-Eric Vergne here and jump to the Toro Rosso, wondering what the AI will do in terms of difficulty. The one unfortunate thing here is Massa makes his move on the Kimmel Straight, undoubtedly helped by the now activated DRS, and he was able to make very, very short work of me and not able to get back around him at the braking point. But the one comment I was about to make is that my big disappointment about Season Challenge Mode is that when you select your difficulty from the get-go, meaning easy, medium, or difficult, you are locked into, apparently, I could be wrong, but I believe this is true, you are locked into a difficulty despite what your profile difficulty settings are. In other words, I play on Professional, but unfortunately, depending on what I select at the start of Season Challenge Mode, dictates what that AI difficulty is. It seems like the AI is much, much slower on easy, for example, and the reason why that's disappointing is only because, you know, if I wanted to play through an entire 10-race season with Ferrari, for example, I'd have to play through it on easy, and unfortunately that's just no fun for seasoned people or people who play on harder difficulties, but I guess that's the whole point of having the difficulty settings from the get-go when you start the mode, which is just how many teams you have to come up through in order to get to the top. But, you know, it just seems like the profile difficulty should dictate the AI for every mode that you're in. It seems like it's fine for any other mode except for Season Challenge Mode. So that's one small letdown, but still, as I mentioned in my video review, Season Challenge Mode is a very, very fun departure from Career Mode. As you can see, I get my braking point wrong here at the bus stop finally, and Bruno Senna and the Williams not able to take advantage of my mistake. Gap was large enough to stay ahead of him. And I'm looking forward to getting into Career Mode, speaking of which, but like I just mentioned, it is quite a bit of a grind. So this is something that's nice to just kind of pick up and burn through 10 or 15 minutes to get your fix without going through you know, some lengthy sessions in order to do that. And unlike Grand Prix Mode, which was forfeited for the sake of installing Season Challenge Mode, which I understand has upset some people who really like Grand Prix Mode, as I mentioned in my video review, I won't miss it at all. But some people are frustrated by its exclusion from this release. But unlike Grand Prix Mode, you know, the Rival Challenge basically is more engaging to me as an objective than Grand Prix Mode. I think of it as more dynamic than just trying to win. I mean, you're trying to win in Career Mode, and so I sort of feel like that's what Career Mode's for, is the objective of the true sport of Formula 1, which is to win or do as well as you possibly can with the car that you have. But this mode is more dynamic in the sense that, you know, your rival is changing, you know, every couple of races. You're getting a chance to see all of the cars in a short time span without having to go through, you know, trial modes or time attacks and things of that nature. So it kind of gives you a relevant reason to try out these different cars and get your feet wet with some of the tracks. But speaking of which, that is the one downside of Season Challenge Mode on the flip side, beyond the AI comment that I had made earlier. And that is that the calendar is static, and for this I have no idea why. We've got 20 tracks this year with the inclusion of Bahrain is back, of course Hockenheim has replaced Nürburgring, but we also have the new track in Austin, Texas. And I have no idea why we're locked into a static calendar for Season Challenge Mode. It seems like it should be dynamic, or better yet, allow us to customize the calendar. And now getting it all wrong here at the bus stop, and this time I do finally go off track. And that's going to allow Sergio Perez to get right up behind me. Let's see if he makes a move on the inside, and you can see that 4 cars were bunched up there. And thankfully, able to stay ahead. The big threat there, of course, was Jean-Eric Vergne getting by, and now you can tell that I've lost my focus just a bit and have to hold it together here for the last lap. And now kind of getting my bearings back as we head down into Eau Rouge for this final stretch. But getting back to my calendar comment, that's something that I really hope is included in an update or at the very least a future release. I just feel like with 20 circuits we should be able to take advantage of all of them in Season Challenge Mode. And now Sergio Perez is coming up very, very fast. He's having a go on the inside here, and let's see if we can outbrake him, and we are able to do so. But Sergio Perez not giving up without a fight. And I have noticed that the AI seems to push a lot harder on the last lap or final laps, and that makes a lot of sense because, hey, they're trying to get as good of a position as they can. But that's something that's unique to 2012, unless it's just my imagination. But I have noticed a lot more pressure on the final laps of races. And that makes it all the more exciting as you're trying to steal a position. At least in my case, it would be stealing a position to finish P13 in the Caterham. And now coming around this long left sweep, you can see that the AI normally is very, very quick through there, but the Sauber backing off now. And as long as I don't make any mistakes through these final corners, and this is the big one that I have a problem with, as I had mentioned before, and also sometimes have a problem here. Sometimes I get my entry point wrong here. Very easy for me to go into the sand, and you can see that I do start to drift just a bit there. And the Sauber was almost able to get around me. And now going to finally have to stay ahead of the Sauber through here using my curves to try and stay ahead. And you can see that I'm getting a lot of pressure now from Sergio Perez and Bruno Senna and the Williams. And as long as I don't make any mistake at the bus stop, which is debatable, I should be able to finish in P13. As long as we stay ahead of the Toro Rosso, we're in good shape. Now being a lot more conservative after the last time. I do not want to make any mistakes and squander my effort here at Spa. I'm anxious to get that contract offer from Toro Rosso. And now that we're able to finish ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne, we should be able to have a go at his seat starting in the next race. So there we are. We were supposed to finish 18th, and we finished 13th, and Jean-Eric Vergne back into 16th. And so let's take a quick look at the final results here. And there you have it. And as you can hear the narrator commenting, I'm going to get a contract offer from Toro Rosso, and that'll give us a chance. I believe the next race is at Silverstone, and that will be our first race with the Toro Rosso. But before we do that, we're going to have to select our next rival, and I'll be showing you that in the next installment of this series. And going to have to be selective. Might take a look at either Lotus or maybe Sauber. Lotus might be a little ambitious straight from Toro Rosso, but we'll have to wait and see. So hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. Feel free to check out my channel for a number of other F1 2012 videos, including my full game review as well as my demo review if you want to go back that far. Also have a number of F1 2011 videos with commentary, including an entire season with Force India. And also a number of Forza 4 videos if you're interested in that series. I've got about 25 or so with commentary and probably close to 50 more without commentary, so a lot of content for that game as well. And you can find a list to a lot of those playlists in the description of this video. So thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.